All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. And today we are joined by a very special guest, somebody that I met at C2E2, somebody I'd been really looking forward to talking to about his new book, The Kill Lock. I finally found him in a little corner of C2E2, if you can call any area a little corner, but I finally found him. Turns out he's also a really nice guy, not just a really good talent. And so he's agreed to come on here and talk to me about the world and comics and his stuff. I really appreciate it. Livio, thank you for being here so much.
Yeah, dude, thank you for having me. I'm really thrilled to speak to you, especially right now in the world,
Yeah, and that was basically, other than how would people know you if they don't know you? Like, how could they look you up and the stuff that you're involved in?
Yeah, so I'm mostly known for doing Transformers for IDW. I've been doing that about 10 years now. You can find all my stuff on Instagram and Twitter, Livio Ramondelli, and The Kill Lock is a new original sci-fi series I created for IDW that started being published in December. So there's 4 issues out as of this week.
Yeah, I wanted to call it like one of the best books of the year of 2019, but there was only 1 issue out, so I kind of felt like it was an honorable mention.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Like as far as potential goes,
yeah,
all that. So
thank you.
That being said, what is life like right now as a comic book artist and writer in the world that we're living in now? Like, how has this impacted what you can get done? Are you stockpiling stuff? Or are you just keeping some things on the back burner? You know, how are you surviving?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked from home for like the last 10 years anyway, so that day-to-day aspect is not that different to me. The real impact on our industry has been, losing all the Comic-Cons, that they're all sort of on hold, delayed, and then Diamond shutting down. So as of this week, there'll be no more physical new comics going to stores. That's certainly a big issue. But I mean, the entire world in general is sort of on pause. That I think everyone's sort of figuring out how to move forward and just hoping this thing goes away as quick as possible. But yeah, like in the meantime, I work on stuff from home all the time anyway, and I am like stockpiling projects that are going to be coming out later when this is all, if the world's still around, when this is all over. So yeah,
that's one thing that I was really curious about. Was C2E2 was like the last thing.
Yeah,
I mean, right after that, it was supposed to be Seattle and Emerald Con, right? And
yeah. And Emerald, usually C2E2 I don't do every year, but Emerald City is always kind of the first one I do every year, and that kind of kicks off the convention season for me. So losing that one and then WonderCon like back to back, and the uncertainty about San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, it's a hard situation.
Yeah, with Disney parks closing down, it's kind of showing everybody else like, if we're doing it, shouldn't you probably be doing it? Almost like a challenge to everyone else around them to stay open. And will they get looked down upon by staying open? Because I'm sure San Diego Comic-Con, if they just said we're doing it no matter what,
that's true,
people they'd probably leave a sour taste in people's mouths, unless by then we've gotten something done. And then I still think that population, or volume of people going into a con after this for the next year, it's probably going to be a little off.
Yeah, I was wondering. I could see one of 2 ways. I could see it definitely being, depleted, and then people's finances being depleted, or I could see people who normally go to a lot of Comic-Cons have so much money saved up to spend, and they've been so anxious to get out of the house that whatever the next big show is that happens, it could be a lot of people.
Well,
so,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Because I even at the end of C2E2, I was getting advertisements for who's going to be at Wizard World in Chicago.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, they were acting as if things are going to be fine. I was like, well, I hope so, because I would like to go to that. But
yeah, I don't know. We're all just kind of waiting to see for sure.
So moving on, when did you first become interested in drawing? Was it always the thing that you wanted to do, or was it something that just started out small? Because I myself, I had a friend, and he and I just used to make, when we were in 4th grade, we do caricatures of famous people and mix them up with homemade objects. And it was something I liked for a really long time. And I moved on to writing when I hit high school. So I don't know, when did it start for you?
Yeah, definitely. My whole life, I was the kid that was indoors drawing and didn't want to go outside that much, and drew all through school, and kind of was bored by a lot of things unless it was drawing and creating and writing and stuff. And I always hoped I'd be able to do it professionally. You know, that's the goal. I went to art school later, you know, and I studied like concept art because I thought at the time that was kind of more steady employment, as if you got hired in house at like a video game studio or a movie studio. But I mean, thankfully, like I got to do the freelance world. I've loved working on that. The last 10 years of just kind of working from home, it really kind of suits the life that I enjoy, and I want to keep doing that. So yeah,
cool. Because now that I know that you've been doing Transformers for 10 years, I'm going to start digging more into finding some of that stuff in trades or through the long boxes, because I dig it now. You got me.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's like working backwards from your newest book till probably like the last thing I'll ever read is probably the first thing you ever did.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Well, no, I'm glad you actually came to it through the Kill Walk, because I didn't know what the readership would be like. I didn't know if it would be mostly Transformers people or be new people. And I'm thrilled that it's a lot of new people, you know, that they're finding this series just based on it stands on its own merits, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got it from Wes from Thinking Critical, but I had seen the book and I've been trying to get myself into more independence because I feel like just more concise and less constraints as far as like long-term books have to be, or in independence. People get to tell the stories they want to tell.
Yeah.
But before we get further into Kill Lock, I was just wondering, what outside of IDW and what you've been doing, what are your favorite characters or books that you might like to take a stab at writing, art, or both someday?
I mean, there's a couple. I'm definitely a big sci-fi guy, so I think like I've always wanted to do like a RoboCop story. Like I love that world. Blade Runner, also Star Wars, of course. And then in terms of superheroes, like Batman was always kind of a favorite of mine, you know. But it really kind of depends on the project. Like I've really enjoyed doing the Kill Lock so much that I want to do more original content too, like original series, and then hopefully continue this one as well if enough people want to see it. So
yeah, that it's definitely like hard to pick like these days what you want to do. Like original stuff is the stuff that I think is the best right now.
Yeah.
I feel like, if anybody wants to go on like a Batman book, it comes with a lot of extra baggage.
Yeah.
They don't just give you carte blanche to write whatever story you want unless you're somebody like way up there, like a Jeff Johns. And even then you don't always get to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I would personally like to see more original stuff from people rather than everybody just tackling, because I always find like you have to chart like what Snyder and Soule are doing on Undiscovered Country is really, really good compared to like some of the stuff that I've seen them do. Nothing against them, but like their independent stuff just feels more free.
I've heard too from a lot of store owners that apparently there's a real resurgence in independent content too, that some stores make a lot more money now on creator-owned stuff than they do on mainstream superheroes, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I've been finding some of the independents hard to get my hands on, even right away.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot more people at my shop before everybody closed down in the second area where all the independents are. It's getting like a little more like where to find the stories, because people are kind of fed up with the big two in a lot of ways about them, but we're not going to get into all that. So since you've been working on Transformers for 10 years and now doing the Kill Lock, which is another robot-based book, are robots artificial intelligence, technologically advanced like races, like based, those kind of creatures, are those your favorite subject? Or is that just kind of something that you fell more into and got comfortable with? And are you planning on anything that maybe diverges from that anytime soon? It's
a good question. I grew up like a big sci-fi fan, and Transformers was a huge thing in my life. Going to the Kill Lock, making them robots too, that was more of a, I think sci-fi always has this great platform of being a metaphor for real world themes where, if you have a robot that's a serial killer, you can have some more fun with it than a human being who's a serial killer. There's just enough of a difference where you can kind of embrace the dark humor, and then the book has a lot of that. I would like to do stuff with people too, for sure. Like I'm working on something now that I can't quite talk about, but definitely has human beings in it. But sci-fi definitely feels like my wheelhouse. I think it's the thing that I'm best at and the thing I like the most.
Yeah, definitely. You can do a lot more with robot versus robot kind of. You can go darker, and
Yeah,
people think of it more of like satire
yeah,
when you have in themes like that. And other than if it was a robot killing people,
yeah,
it was getting that dark, then people would be like, "There's no kind of like." For some reason, we don't have that gray area of like,
yeah,
nope, through the robot, it's got to die. We won't look at
yeah,
any of the underlying. Why is the robot killing people?
yeah,
People don't care. But if you make it a whole world of robots for some reason, since we don't consider them to be real, I
yeah,
mean, they're artificial. That
yeah,
it's more like what they can get away with on cartoons,
yeah,
things like that, where we know it's not really there, so we can do whatever we want and feel less guilty for it.
yeah,
Um, but I do love that a lot. That you can just kind of have fun and still throw in like good serious themes in there. You're not fooling, like you're not trying to fool the audience into learning something while they're reading.
yeah,
It's just it's a nice out to be
yeah,
able to use those kind of characters to be free to tell those kind of stories.
yeah, definitely.
Um, so Transformers Galaxies, like I said, I don't like snowing anybody. Even when I interviewed Brad Jones, I said I've not seen all your movies.
Yeah,
So in your case, I can say I have not read all your books.
no, that's totally
And
fine.
like I said, I
Yeah,
started reading Transformers Galaxies to give me a little more to. And as soon as I got my hands on them,
yeah,
first I went to where I went to buy them. They only had the first 3 issues,
uh-huh.
and I was mad because I was like, I don't want to just be incomplete.
Yeah, yeah,
So I got the first three, and I loved it. I thought it changed my viewpoint on what you can do in a Transformers book,
cool.
not just the writing, but the visual style that I like in Killock is here in Transformers, giving this real dense story about the Constructicons and the Insecticons and the whole politics of how they became who they became and why they became Devastator in the first place,
Yeah,
and mix that with your art. It is gorgeous to look at and engaging on every panel to read.
thank
And
you.
like I said, I never thought I would feel that way about a Transformers book, and
Oh,
it
thank
makes
you.
me want to go back into it.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
what did
just
what
to
did you
say,
like about?
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to ask you, what about the Transformers besides, I guess you've grown up with it. Is there
Yeah.
anything really special about that gig that's kept you doing it for 10 years other than, just a love of the variety of characters that you have to
It's,
play with?
yeah, it's a good question. I think it's both that, they meant so much to me growing up, those characters, and then it feels like a real privilege to get to work on it. And then also just that, Transformers fans, that community is so amazing. I've got to travel to most countries in the world. Well, not most countries, but many countries in the world, and got to meet so many cool fans and have best friends in other parts of the world I never thought because of Transformers. It really is this global connected community in a way that I don't know if like superheroes have that. Like I know people that work on like Batman and Spider-Man, and they don't quite have the same stories of when they go overseas, that there's this huge community of that one thing. There are specific Transformers conventions that happen in a way that there aren't specific X-Men conventions. So I think that's been great. And then it's just the fact that it's science fiction. It's my favorite genre, and it's some of my favorite characters ever. So it's been a blast. And then when something like Transformers Galaxies comes along, the story was so cool there. Like that was a real passion project for Tyler Blazinski, who wrote it, that I was instantly on board. I thought it was a great story.
So the Killock
Yeah.
is an incredible book.
Thank you.
I'm trying not to gush so much.
And I appreciate it.
Besides Transformers, what were, if any, inspirations for the book and the character, the story, or its overall themes that you thought about when you were developing the Killock?
I started with the basic concept of like a situation where you would have four very different characters forced to protect each other. Like this very moral soldier, like a psychopath, an innocent kid, and an addict. Like what situation would they have to spend time together? And so from there, the influences are so all over the place. I mean, even things you wouldn't think of. Like I'm a huge like Garth Ennis fan, so like Preacher, and like the sense of humor in his writing and how smart his dialogue is. Like that was a huge influence. Where like I love Preacher because you have characters that are kind of outrageous and goofy, but then you also have like the Saint of Killers, which is just like super serious, tragic character. And I like that they can both exist in the same world. I really like that style of writing a lot. So that was probably a big influence. Yeah, and then I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like it's the first thing I've ever really written. So in terms of like having a specifically writing style, it would depend. I'd have to kind of look back on it or see what the next project looks like to kind of figure out like, oh yeah, I can kind of see where I was like influenced, you know?
Cool.
But, yeah.
So of the four characters, which one is your favorite to write for? Like whose voice is it easiest to come out with? Because they are very distinct, and it's I don't think it's a like in my head I thought, oh, this is probably an easy answer, but every single one of them is so distinct. Like even the kid,
Yeah.
just an innocent, I think of him, you know, he's not even come anywhere near close to being, you know, owning who and what he is. He doesn't know what he is really.
Yeah.
So the confusion of that character, or the laborer who is carrying that guilt around
Yeah.
with him, but's also trying to be the one that helps out the most. And then you've got the artisan who is the artisan
Yeah.
who basically is the wild card. He's the freaking Charlie Day.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Wraith, who it sometimes feels like one of the most horrifying dark characters, but at the same time there's this like Frankenstein's monster inside it, you know, the one that wants to be able to help the kid and stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah.
so which one of those is like, I'm not saying who's your favorite, but like which one is the easiest to write for?
Yeah, I definitely of the four of them, my favorites and the two that are easiest are the Wraith and the Artisan for sure. Like I think the Artisan is really fun because it's like he just has no filter, you know, like he just will say, you can put whatever your darkest thought is, and he was happy to say it, you know, and I like that a lot. And then the Wraith I really like too because it's, you know, his voice is kind of really clear in my head, but he speaks in a very odd way. He sort of speaks like he's from another century, you know, and his principles are sort of very odd and weird from like the norm. So I like the super modernism of like the Artisan and the slang and everything matched up next to a crusader. It's like a knight from 500 years ago hanging out with like a frat boy now or something. That those two are my favorites, and they're the most fun to write too.
Yeah, when I read the book and I got it open here and I'm reading the Wraith's parts, normally I can come up with a voice in my head.
Yeah.
But his is the one that I can read the lines, but I have not found that inner voice yet, because I feel like it's like a mixture of like you said, kind of like holy warrior.
Yeah.
But he's so big and
Yeah.
massive that it's like, how would that guy sound?
I tell you, I thought what I think he sounds like is it's a combination of these two things. Not exactly what these are, but did you ever watch the Spawn animated series on HBO?
Sure. Yeah.
Overkill, that robot.
Okay.
He speaks like that, but he also speaks like in the beginning of Fifth Element, those aliens come to Earth, those robotic aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of a mix between those two, where it's like deep and bassy, and then like, you know, so I always thought he had a very deep voice, but not as Overkill is more hardcore. I think the Wraith speaks slower, you know, but that was generally what he sounds like to me.
Yeah, and the Artisan, I don't know. I just hear almost like a high pitched, like Dr. Smith from what was that? Lost in Space, kind of almost.
One of my friends said he hears the Artisan as Steve Buscemi, and I can see.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like I'm trying to think of like thinking of like just weaselly characters who just have that Mr. Burns almost quality too, where he's just like excellent. I can just see it sitting there. Yeah. So far, for anybody that's not read The Kill Lock, and we're going to spoil up to issue 4 here for them a little bit, is it's about 4 robots that are given a death sentence. And what they do in this book is 4 robots are put together with the mark, and if any of them dies, they all die. And it's how this has been happening for a long time. And these 4 together are trying to figure out how to cure themselves of this and free themselves, and what would they even do after the fact. And so far, we've just barely gotten, we're starting to get to know each character one at a time, getting to know why and how they ended up here. And one of the biggest questions that I have is, do you really have like an end game in sight? or like a rough outline of how far you feel like you want to take it initially before you maybe made a decision to go, oh, this is doing really great, I have more to say of it with this? Or is it just kind of something that you're still just kind of slowly formulating?
No, that's a really good question. I knew going into this that I had no idea if people were going to like this book or read it or buy it. So my goal from the beginning was that these 6 issues, if these 6 are all that ever come out, that they will form a finished story, that there will be an ending that's satisfying. And I did have an idea that what the sequel would be when I was working on the first one, where like I really like love those characters and like really wanted to continue it. And I definitely have an idea of what the follow-up would be. I've thought a lot about it since the reception to the first series has been pretty good, like better than I thought it was going to be. Like I didn't know if it would make any kind of a mark. So I would love to continue it. I mean, I got to see, how sales go and the state of the world and everything, but it's definitely something I would love to do.
Absolutely, because and even if it's not like the kill lock blank, something underneath or whatever, however you do sequels, you want to, I don't know if you'd want to call it the Kill Lock 2.
No, I have an idea for the name, but the second one, I will not say it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
When I first tried to get these, the first couple of issues, it was very hard.
Oh, good. Well, I mean,
I could not find anything that was an original print in any physical store that I went to, and anywhere else I went to, it was people didn't want to just get rid of them.
Oh, nice.
Which is a really good sign.
Yeah.
I like I said, if you guys have not read the Kill Lock or any of his Transformers books, the art is fantastic. I still have this. I'm trying to get this framed. It's the print that you signed for me. This is one of my favorite things.
Nice.
Boba Fett out of the Sarlacc pit. My nephew that I gave the Optimus Prime one to, he frigging loves that poster, that print that you made.
Oh, that's
awesome. He really digs it a lot. I told him you need to start reading some of these books, these Transformers books, because he's still young enough to care about that more than, like, he's still in that Transformers age where he just wants to get as much of it as he can.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to get him into your books as soon as I have more time, as soon as bookstores open up again. Because right now, if I tried to buy everything online, I'd go broke.
Oh, nice. Really thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
No. So how can anybody find you on social media?
Yeah, on social media, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram, but it's just my full name, Livio Ramondelli. I have a website too, but I offer commissions. I'm doing remarks on Kill Lock issues too. If anyone's interested, I'll do a head sketch on the cover for you. So yeah, just email me and happy to ship some off to you. So
cool. Do you know of any other kinds of merchandising happening around the Kill Lock?
I don't know. It's so, it's so early. Like, I mean, the dream for me would be like figures. I would love to see figures from the series, but we have to see. We have to see like how, what sales are. I mean, I've heard sales have been really good. Like that's generally the vibe I've heard from everyone. I get my first kind of big royalty number in a few weeks of what the actual numbers are. But I've had a lot of retailers hit me up saying that they've sold out and reordered multiple times for every issue. So yeah. And I also heard just like 2 days ago that it reached allocation status, which means that the demand is so high that if a store orders 30 copies, they might only get 10 because they have to spread it around fairly to the country. So
I heard that about some books lately that's been happening too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, before I let you go, I just got to say again, the Kill Lock, funniest book I've read in a while. It's one of the best books that I'm reading currently. The only thing I think is on par with your book is like Zdarsky's Daredevil, Curse of the White Knight by Murphy. You're in good company.
Nice.
Like, you're in really good company as far as like what I consider to be pretty good. And I know that there's a lot of discerning people out there, and I know that they want to see this book succeed. I know they want to see you succeed, and I'm sure they would love to see the Kill Lock keep going as far as you have stories to tell. And I think that when this is over, we'll find out that issues 5 and 6 are going to sell just as well as anything else.
I really hope so. Yeah. I mean, hopefully the delay doesn't hurt the momentum of the story, I think they should still come out digitally, but I know so many people read the hard copy that, we'll have to see, and hope everyone stays safe in general out there. So,
All right. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Taking the time out of your life. I'd say busy lives, but I mean, we don't. Everybody's kind of on hold, except for me. This is like my one time to breathe before I got to go right back into the trenches tomorrow.
Dude, thank you for all you're doing, man. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I just hope that I can. I hope I make it through.
Absolutely. Yeah,
After this
yeah.
is over, because I'm usually in pretty good health, but I'm having to take even greater precautions around myself than ever, because
Definitely.
it's like 5 days a week, 8.5 hours a day out with the public. So,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
anyway, thank you again so much for being here.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
really
Stay
appreciate
safe.
it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back and talk and do a live broadcast. We'll get people like for when the 6th issue comes out, maybe we can set something up for people to send in comments and ask you questions and things like that.
Cool. That sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Take care. Thank you.
All right. And remember, everybody, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe hit the bell for all notifications, all that jazz. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews, saying you can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome.